Harris Faulkner has worked for many years as one of Fox News's most trusted people on TV. She has won 6 Emmy Awards during her career. She stays calm and professional even when the cameras are on her. She has built a strong reputation for being good at her job. But behind that polished TV personality is a life that has been changed by personal loss, scary situations, and moments that almost changed her career forever. And when she suddenly stopped appearing on screen, it made people ask a bigger question. What has Harris Faulkner gone through off-camera that viewers never got to see? In late 2025, Harris Faulkner, a longtime Fox News anchor who is well known for being in charge on daytime TV and covering politics, suddenly stopped appearing on TV. This left viewers and people who watch the news wondering where she went. The journalist, who has won 6 Emmy Awards, has worked at Fox News since 2005, but she suddenly didn't show up on the Faulkner Focus or other shows she usually hosts from November 2025 through January 2026. The reason she gave was that she wanted to take care of important personal things. In a statement that she shared shortly before taking time off, Faulkner said that her time away was not running away from something, but a planned step toward growing as a person and helping her family. She explained that one of her main goals during the break was helping her oldest daughter, Bella Berlin, as she was starting college. This was a big, important moment that was both happy and hard for her family. Along with this, Faulkner talked about starting what she called a rebirth journey of love with her husband, Tony Berlin, in late 2025 and early 2026. Harris Faulkner shared a series of very personal thoughts on air that gave rare information about the emotional struggles behind her recent break from being on TV. Faulkner admitted that part of her decision to take a break was because of the terrible things her daughters have had to go through in recent years, which she called painful and life-changing. She didn't say everything that happened, but she said that protecting her children and helping her children through these challenges is her #1 priority. As the mother of 2 biracial girls, Bella and Danica, Faulkner has talked in past interviews about the difficult conversations she has had with them about race, identity, and faith in a divided America. Her concerns match public comments she made before in 2025, when she said that she felt nervous about how racial and faith-related tensions can affect young people in college and in society. But this is not the tragedy that has kept Harris Faulkner off the air for a while. When her father died during the COVID-19 pandemic, she was devastated. Faulkner has openly talked about one of the most painful personal losses of her life, which is the death of her father, retired Lieutenant Colonel Bobby R. Harris, and how it tested her faith and strength. She said that her father's death on Christmas Day 2020 was a deeply painful moment that changed her spiritual journey. During the lonely conditions of the COVID-19 pandemic, in interviews and her book about her life, Faulkner described her father as her North Star and lifelong role model whose influence was in her personal life and work beliefs. His death happened during a time of strict pandemic rules, which stopped her from seeing him in his final moments and made her sense of loss even worse. In the weeks that followed, Faulkner admitted that she struggled a lot with her faith. She admitted that she started to pray less and cry more, moving away from the spiritual foundation that she had relied on since she was a child. Eventually, she was able to work through her sadness when she found his Bible with notes in it while packing her father's belongings. The book was filled with handwritten thoughts on scripture that had kept him going throughout his life. As she looked through his notes, Faulkner found a sense of comfort and connection in his interpretations and to her father in faith. But this was not the only tragedy that made her question her faith, as a few years before that, she also dealt with the death of her mother. Faulkner has also talked about the impact that the loss of her mother, Shirley Harris, had on her life and career. Shirley Harris died in November 2016 after fighting advanced lung cancer. This was a struggle that Faulkner saw up close, and she took care of her mother during the final stages of her illness, Faulkner has described her bond with her mother as inseparable, said Shirley gave her the values that eventually guided her through life and into a high-profile career in journalism. She has talked about the deep sense of absence that followed her mother's death and even wrote that she missed her so much that it physically hurts her heart. It's with the support of her family that she has overcome many challenges, like when she was being stalked by an ex-boyfriend. Before Harris Faulkner was a well-known Fox News anchor, she went through a scary stalking situation that left a lasting impact on her personal and professional life. While working as an evening anchor at WDAF-TV in Kansas City in the 1990s, Faulkner became the target of nonstop harassment by a former boyfriend who refused to accept the end of their relationship. The man followed her from North Carolina to Kansas. At first, he was just calling her over and over again and sending flowers, but the situation quickly got worse. The stalker started showing up at Faulkner's home. He spent time outside her apartment and threatened her with unwanted attention. He keyed and vandalized her car, sending a scary message about his persistence and lack of respect for boundaries. The stalking took an even more frightening turn when the man broke into her home, violating her sense of safety and security. On that occasion, Faulkner's screams got the neighbors' attention and led to a police response. He was eventually arrested. Aside from her personal life, Faulkner has had to deal with trauma during her career, like when she reported on a devastating event. Faulkner has been open about the emotional difficulty of covering some of the darkest chapters in recent American history, especially her live reporting from the scene of the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting in 2012. She was on the ground in Newtown, Connecticut on December 14, 2012. As the community struggled with the aftermath of the devastating mass shooting that took the lives of 20 young children and 6 adults. Reporting live from the parking lot outside the school, Faulkner watched the arrival of hearses carrying victims' bodies, a moment she described later as unbearably heavy and emotionally overwhelming. Instead of simply delivering the facts, she naturally called for a moment of silence on air, giving viewers space to process how big the tragedy was alongside her. But another moment was when she interviewed the president during one of the worst times in America. Harris Faulkner drew a lot of attention in 2020 for a notable interview with then-President Donald Trump at the height of the Black Lives Matter protests following George Floyd's death. In the televised sit-down, Faulkner pressed Trump on his response to nationwide unrest and directly confronted him about his controversial tweet. As a reporter whose career has covered some of the most important news events of the past several decades, Harris Faulkner has some impressive highlights. Since joining Fox News in 2005, she has anchored multiple programs, including The Faulkner Focus and Outnumbered. Early in her career, Faulkner reported on the AIDS crisis in South Africa. She also covered the disappearance of Natalie Holloway in Aruba in 2005, a case that captured international headlines. Now you know what happened to Harris Faulkner and why she wasn't on air for about 3 months. From dealing with family issues to deaths and trauma, what was the most shocking tragedy of Harris Faulkner?